Okay, we now know today that man, male and female, is essentially a being of light. And there's a person named Fritz Popp, who was a biophysicist, who coined that. And in his studies, he found that when he was working with the body biologically, that light emanated from it. And he did some more discovering. And in essence, he came up with that we are all beings of light. And I think Robert can explain a little bit more in detail with that. But for right now, let's go with the flow with that. So affirming our purpose. So our light being, again, we talked about the essence of ourselves is light. So our reason for being basically is the expression of the light that we are. Your essence, our individual essence expressing. Animating essence of being. Now we think about essences, and that could be kind of like a diffuse, nebulous thing, anonymous thing, but let's look at it more in terms of a specific character of animating essences of being. So we have a little more sensing of what that relates to, essence of being. So we look at love. Love in essence is behind everything in nature, behind everything that animates, you can say, the universe. It's actually, love is not a stagnant word. It's an alive, animating essence that animates everything. And from there, we can see what's true and real from love. And then creating life, the essence of life. You can see, look at all the natural world and see there's life abundantly all around us. Robert taking a walk there in the woods, seeing life all around us. Sharon, you taking a walk today. Purification, the essence of being relates to purification. Our body goes through purification processes all the time. So there's an essence that animates us that relates to purification. The essence of blessing. Now, for all of us, I think on this call, on these sessions, we're all interested in actually blessing each other, blessing others, being kind, having an influence that actually helps give something of life, a life feeling to others, encouragement. Single focus. You can say everything animates with one focus in mind. And again, Thomas, I remember you talking about the one thing, taking classes in that. When we simplify things to one focus, it actually brings us into more, you can say, a state of peace. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then regeneration. You can think about our intestinal cells, like partly every 7 days, we have a new intestinal lining that's constantly regenerating. So even in our own bodies, there's that regenerative spirit, but there's regenerative essences all around us if we really look at them. And if we look at this a little bit more tangibly, you can say love is love. Truth relates to wisdom and understanding. Life, there's a life radiance of brightness. Purification, I like to look at it in terms of, when there's something pure, I like to see it in terms of pure-heartedness. It brings assurance. Blessing, there's blessings of realization. When we have a realization, it's actually a blessing to us, and it's wonderful to be able to share those with others. Single focus, again, when we're single-minded or we have a focus in mind, it brings tranquility. It brings a sense of peace. It brings a sense of sequence of, like Thomas, with you today, moment by moment. You did what you needed to do. There's a sensing, okay, you kept a focus, it sounds like, in that respect. Regeneration, now in any process of regeneration, restoration, there needs to be a sense of patience associated with that. And what do you love to experience? You think about these qualities, these essences. Okay, what do you love to experience? Personally, I love experiencing realizations. And part of presenting these classes or organizing or letting content come into my consciousness, I find a real blessing, and seems to be coming fast and furious. So this relates, what you love to experience of these qualities here relates to your reason for being expressing. So let me talk about that a little bit. So there's a book called The Blue Zones, which is a book that describes areas of the world where people live to be in older age, centenarians, and with a quality of life. And they recognize in those blue zones, there's a sense of purpose. For example, in older Okinawans can readily articulate the reason they get up in the morning. In Okinawa, the notion of ikigai, The reason for which you wake up in the morning suffuses people's entire adult lives. It gets centenarians out of bed and out of the easy chair to teach karate or to guide the village spiritually or to pass down traditions to children. As Robert Butler, the first director of the National Institute on Aging, once told me, being able to define your life meaning adds to your life expectancy. Our life meaning defined and expressed brings stability in heart and mind and increased knowing of purpose. Stability and greater purpose known. When we are in a right place in essence and expression, the understanding of our mind is supported by the feelings of our heart. So you think about that. You know, how many times does our mind want to go one way and our heart another way? But when we're in place, in essence and expression, there's a unification of our heart and mind. And when that happens, actually, that brings a great sense of peace. It brings a great sense of focus. It brings a great sense of presence. And here I depicted, I love this picture of this photographer I've come across, Johan Plenio, and depicting how we're all basically, there's an essence of each of us that springs up into life expression. And we're all lined up, you know, there's a certain community there and we're in place and we're knowing a sense of place. So this I wanted to bring out tonight, and we're going to talk about this next one. I'm going to stop the recording, but I'm going to share this recording with you later in the week and also with others.